This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. October 10th is World Mental Health Day, and this year we're saying thank you, therapists. BetterHelp therapists have helped over 5 million people worldwide on their mental health journeys. That's millions of stories, millions of journeys, and behind every one is a therapist who showed up, listened, and helped someone take a step forward. Moments in therapy, like the right question, a safe space to cry, or a small win, can change lives. This World Mental Health Day, BetterHelp is honoring those connections and the therapists who make them possible, while showing how easy it is to get guidance from a licensed therapist online with BetterHelp. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. And it works with an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for a live session based on over 1.7 million client reviews. This World Mental Health Day, we're celebrating the therapists who've helped millions of people take a step forward. If you're ready to find the right therapist for you, BetterHelp can help you start that journey. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/PFF. That's betterhelp.com/PFF. All right, final one, and it is a massive one in this preview, is number 23 Utah at number 15 BYU, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox. This is one of the biggest holy wars ever. Utah and BYU are obviously bitter enemies who have met 97 times in a rivalry known as the Holy War. Bragging rights alone in this game make it must-see TV, but this Saturday's matchup is the biggest game in a long time between these two programs. It's the first time in 16 years that both the Utes and the Cougars are currently ranked in the top 25 when they meet. This game also could establish who the real top contender is to Texas Tech right now in the Big 12. BYU is 6-0 on the year, the only other undefeated team in the conference other than Texas Tech. Utah is 5-1 on the year and currently has the second best odds to win the Big 12 right now at plus 600, according to DraftKings Sportsbook. So again, first time since 2009 that both BYU and Utah are ranked when they play each other. And also, this game could determine who is the biggest threat to Texas Tech in the Big 12 right now.
I mean, this is as big as it gets in this rivalry, man, and especially when you've got the added dimension of Devin Dampier coming in as the transfer from New Mexico and outside of the Texas Tech game playing very well, and Bear Bachmeier, the true freshman, starting 6-0. I don't care who it is or what your team looks like. You start 6-0 with a true freshman quarterback, you're doing something right. You've got two well-rounded teams, two teams that are pretty darn good in the trenches, two teams that have a lot of playmakers throughout their team, and they're both really physical, and they both really want to run the football, right? That's going to be the fun part. You always get a super physical game between these two teams. You got it last year again for sure with BYU pulling it out last second. I would expect every bit of the rivalry factor to come out in this game. This is going to be an all-out war. It really is.
Yeah, I think it's the trenches is going to be the critical in this game, Dalton. You have Utah in this game with an elite offensive line. What should we know when the Utes have the ball?
So I think if there is one distinct advantage that Utah does have, yes, we talk so much about their offensive line, usually in the context of run blocking, but they have been outstanding when it comes to pass protection this year. They have the fourth best pass blocking grade. They have the second best pressure rate allowed. Dampier gets hit and sacked less than anybody in the country. And if I was going to nitpick one actual, because we talk about BYU and go, listen, they don't have a ton of weaknesses. There might be one with the lack of pass rush, right? Even last year, it wasn't great, but at least they had Tyler Batty off the edge, and he had something. BYU is not a great pass rushing team this season. Actually, their two leaders in pressures are linebackers Jack Kelly and Isaiah Glasker. So when you look at this team, they're very good in coverage, obviously very good in run defense, but if the first step is getting Utah into obvious passing situations, because you don't want Spencer Fano and those guys leaning on you and getting into the depth of the run game and everything Jason Beck can do as the offensive coordinator. The second step is you have to find a way to bring Devin Dampier down, and he's only been sacked, I think it's 3 times this year, 2 or 3 times this year, and we've charged them all to him. BYU is 79th in the country in pass rush grade, and over the last few weeks that's gotten even worse. So I think you look at it and go, they have to find a way to manufacture pressure on Dampier in passing situations. And their other problem is the star linebacker Jack Kelly, who is leading them in pressures and who often would play kind of that spy role against mobile quarterbacks. We're not sure if he's going to play in this game. He's had a shoulder injury. He practiced last week and then sat out the Arizona game. Obviously, Isaiah Glasgow plays a role at linebacker as well. I think a huge battle in this game, in the run game and in the passing game, is these BYU linebackers, just in general, against the offensive line and against Devin Dampier. And if they don't have Jack Kelly, that does get tough because Jack Kelly's a guy who gets off the edge and rushes the passer as well from there. Those are the guys I'm looking at that have to play their A game for BYU. They do it a lot. You've got Glasgow, you've got Kelly, you've got Siale Acera, who played very well last week against Arizona, but they need to be on their A-plus game if they're going to win this, and especially the other two if Kelly is out.
It's all about the trenches on my side of the ball, too. When BYU has the ball, BYU's offensive line against Utah's defensive line is what I'm looking at. In this game, the holy war will be won in the trenches. BYU's offense is centered around its ability to run the football right now. The Cougars run the ball at the second highest rate in the Power Four, only behind West Virginia right now at about 57%. Running back LJ Martin has been outstanding for the Cougars this year. He's fifth in the nation with 448 yards after contact, and BYU as a team is ninth in the nation in run blocking grade this year. And Barrett Bachmeier can run the ball too at quarterback. So you have a mobile quarterback, an outstanding running back, and an outstanding offensive line in terms of run blocking this year. That could be an issue for Utah in this one. Utah right now is the seventh worst team in the Power Four in terms of yards after contact per attempt allowed at 3.4. But where the Utes have won is with their pass rush. Utah currently has the third best pressure rate in all of college football this year at 46%. But I will say BYU, that offensive line is great in run blocking. It's very good in pass blocking too. Right now, BYU is 21st in the country in pressure rate allowed at about 26%. But if Utah does get pressure on quarterback Bear Bachmeier in this game, they could have a huge advantage because Bear Bachmeier has a 47.6 passing grade under pressure this year. It's only 88th among all quarterbacks in the country, and Utah runs man coverage at the highest rate in all of college football at about 59% this year. Bear Bachmeier must be prepared to make tight window throws against man coverage under duress in this game. We'll see if the true freshman can do it.
The man coverage is a big thing in the name to know for that Utah pass rush. John Henry Daly, 91.8 pass rush grade, 28 pressures, 9 sacks, at least 1 sack in every game this year, Max. John Henry Daly, he's all-out effort all the time, and he's going to have to chase down Bear Bachmeier on the move, too, because Bachmeier has been excellent under pressure, I think, especially in the last couple of games when they've been trailing against Colorado and against Arizona. He has just made plays outside the pocket. So you have to finish Bear Bachmeier in the same way that you have to get Devin Dampier on the ground. You have to get Bachmeier on the ground before he can make plays with his legs. And then the other guys I want to bring up here also are the linebackers too for Utah. They're going to be key against BYU's run game and bringing down LJ Martin, Lander Barton, and Jonathan Hall. Those are the two big guys you're looking for. I think this is a game where on both sides you're looking at linebackers that need to play extremely well for their teams to win. You got these two teams, they're going to get 4 and 5 yard runs on you. It's going to happen, right? You're not going to shut them down. Neither of these teams is going to walk out here and rush for only 30 yards. That's not going to be a thing. You got to prevent those big 15s and 20s and 60-yard runs that either of them can get on you. Linebackers are going to be massive on both sides in this game. On one side, it's Glasgow and Acera and maybe Kelly. On the other side, it's Barton and Hall, who need to have huge games. Whoever wins that battle, those are the guys I'm looking at, could win this game.
Daly also transferred from BYU to Utah. Someone shout out in the chat, too.
Well, of course he did. Of course.
Well, there we go.
Well, of course. Does that mean he makes a winning play in this game?
Maybe.
Man, oh, man.
Maybe.
It is
great shout out by the chat by Travis Horlocker, by the way.
This is going to be. I just think again the word in this game is physical. You're going to get two teams that have a lot of the same goals and two quarterbacks that look. They're both really good athletes and they're going to have to make plays under pressure.
Cade Kirshner in the chat saying BYU tickets normally go for $60 to $90. This week they're going for $400. He says the biggest day of the year in the state of Utah right now.
I had somebody threw a comment at me on Twitter saying this is the biggest holy war since 2008. That's what they told me.
Yeah,
or 09.
09 was the last ranked one they had.
Yeah. So I mean, it just, and the implications when you look forward. I mean, look, BYU's in a big stretch right now. When you talk, I think, is it next week or the week after they play Iowa State? I mean, they're in a stretch right now that could define their season. If BYU comeback win on Colorado, cool. Young quarterback, good stuff. Comeback win against Arizona on the road, great. 2 great road wins. Love that. Now you get to come back home with momentum undefeated. But next 3, look at the rest of this for BYU. They're going to earn it if they're getting to the Big 12 title game. Utah, Iowa State, Texas Tech, TCU, Cincinnati.
Wow.
There's the road right there.
We're going to preview every game with theirs this year.
Most likely, yeah. I mean, and then you look at Utah. Little easier. Colorado next week, Cincinnati, Baylor. I mean, obviously Cincinnati's live, but Utah's trying to avoid a second loss now too. I don't know if they'll get in the Big 12 title game. I know we had a bunch of 2-loss teams last year, but I don't know if you're going to get a bunch of them this year. Somebody might come out with 1 loss. So you look at the road that BYU has and the way they could set themselves up for this stretch. And Utah, if they can come out of this with the win and still just a 1 loss, you start to feel good about them down the stretch as well. This is as big a game as we have in the Big 12 this season.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Dalton, what is the biggest holy war in over a decade and a half? Who will win between Utah and BYU?
I'm so scared of this pick. I really am.
Yeah,
because it's just, this is one of those games where you just, no matter what you pick, there's going to be nonsense, right? I'm scared. I'm scared of this pick because I'm really scared of picking the road team here going into Provo. And look, BYU, they went into Utah last year and got the win, right? I'm going with it. I'm going with the Utes 23-20. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be physical. It is going to be an absolute fist fight all the way to the end. But I do think Devin Dampier is the guy that makes enough plays. If Jack Kelly is out, I think that's a big factor. I also think Bear Bachmeier has gotten through some big moments, right? At Colorado, at Arizona, love a true freshman quarterback starting 6-0. This is as big as it gets right here when you talk about being in this program and needing to come through. I think Kyle Whittingham in this defense and then Devin Dampier on the offensive side, they make enough plays. BYU's lack of pass rush is the one glaring thing in this game on both sides that concerns me big time. But both quarterbacks are going to have to be safe with the football, too, to win this game. I'm going to take Utah by a field goal.
I have Utah. Once again, I feel like I've done so many 1-point marches in this episode because of how awesome the slate is, and I just don't know who's going to win so many of these games. Doing it once again here, I have Utah beating BYU 24-23. This version of the Holy War should live up to the hype and then some, and what could be and what should be a battle in the trenches. I think Utah comes out on top at home and escapes by the slimmest of margins. So I have Utah winning this game 24-23 over BYU.